still do 7 NUFC Matters shows for free a week. But if you want to support the channel, there are a few ways of doing it. Hit the like button on each live broadcast or video. This helps the channel grow. Hit the subscribe button and select the all notifications options. Hit the thanks button to buy a super sticker. You can do this on the live chat too. You can also join our Patreon page or buy us a coffee at the link in all of our video descriptions below. We are also looking for sponsors. If you want our latest advertising rates and how you can get involved, then email John at nufcmatters1892@gmail.com. Thanks.
Attack. It feels like I've been talking to myself again, but it's the only way you're ever gonna learn. You look back and it's all in the past. I'm dwelling on the thoughts I cannot say to you. If I don't say the words, then maybe it's not true. And it feels alright when they come and say to you,
good afternoon, welcome along to NUFC Matters. It is Talk of the Tune with Sid from Songs from the Attic. How are you, Sid?
I'm very good, thank you very much. How's yourself?
Yes, all good, mate. And just want to start by thanking you, as I did last night, for helping raise £500, which has been paid over to Age UK North Tyneside, the dementia section, at our evening with Warren Barton. You were spinning the discs, of course. Adam did a little acoustic set, and Warren Barton and Joe Allen did a little talking as well. Cracking night. Did you enjoy it?
I did, and thank you very much to everybody who come up to say hello. It was really lovely to see some people I've never met before. So that was really, really spot on. Yes, Stephen, absolutely. Jimmy Cliff, top draw, real pioneer. Absolutely brilliant voice, actually. Brilliant voice, but a real pioneer. Different style of reggae as well, a bit more scarry than reggae there, but he had a lovely voice, yeah.
Yeah, no surprise that's been my album of the day today because Jimmy Cliff, of course, passed away.
Yeah, The Harder They Come's a cracking album. Yeah,
amazing stuff, great stuff, and we will be doing a little bit of music relief halfway through the show. Rob will be joining us, so the show is live, and just a shout out for the amigos as well. It is 5 o'clock tomorrow, Wednesday night. Quite a bit going on over the next couple of weeks. So
I've just learned how the comments section works on. Yes, it's the first time I've ever seen it.
Oh, is it? All right, so you can actually get it now. Yeah, on StreamYard. Good stuff. All right, and a bit of positivity as well. The fans forum was a breeze last night, Sid, because there was something positive to talk about. Newcastle United women, even Darren negativity last night was Darren positivity. So great result, mate.
I got to watch it. Yeah, it was very good.
Great result, wasn't it, as well, though? Fantastic result by Newcastle.
Amazing. I mean, it's one of those lovely experiences when you come away from the match and everyone's singing. And I remember I was in the Bacchus after the match and had a couple of beers. And then I was coming out, and all of a sudden the bar just Joy Division came on, and then everyone just started singing "Barnes Will Tear You Apart" again. It was brilliant. I love stuff like that. It just reminds me of being a kid, and you'd be on the bus coming back from the match, and people would just suddenly start singing. I remember the one that always stands out is, for some bizarre reason, the upstairs of the 71 bus on the way home started singing "Stand and Deliver." I have no idea why, but everyone just sang it all the way home. Oh, it was weird, but this was great. It was fantastic. The whole bar just singing there, "Barnes Will Tear You Apart" again. It was fab, absolutely lovely. What a display! What a display! Though I expected them to turn up, and I think I predicted we'd get beat 3-2 last week, and I thought we deserved to win. It could have been 5-5. It really could have been that. I thought they missed some good chances. We missed some really good chances. I thought we edged it overall. So I think we deserved to win, but not by a massive amount. And we had two attacking teams playing really, really good football. So you couldn't complain about any of it. And the difference makers were the fullbacks. They were just superb. Because I don't want to be digging out Dan Burn, because I've said all season I would have him starting as centre half alongside Malik Chow, who's probably the best centre half in the country at the moment. In fact, I'm not even saying probably he is the best centre half in the country at the moment. And I'd have those two as my first pairing. But I thought the defence was just brilliant the other day. It was really, really good. Share was tremendous. But Chow, he's just next level, isn't he? He's unbelievable. I can't believe I'm seeing this good a defender at this stage. Just brilliant. I mean, Hall was up there for man of the match for me. I thought Livramento was excellent. Give the ball away a few times, but he hasn't played for ages. And I thought his energy was brilliant. The young kid who came on was really, really quick, and he just got past him. And then Tino did a lunging challenge and knocked the ball out. I thought a fantastic defending, because unfortunately Trippier and Dan Burn would have got done for pace at that point with regards to them. I thought Hall is outstanding. He's arguably our most gifted footballer. I mean, the times he gets the ball and just weaves between one or two players is remarkable. Yeah, it's not often I see a footballer who does things that I don't expect to see, and he does it. And he does it on a regular basis. I think we've got a truly exceptional footballer there. I think he's better than Tino. I think Tino's obviously a little bit quicker. But what I was also impressed with was Hall's pace, where I think there was a real shout for a penalty when he was pushed over in the box. And I haven't watched the full game back or anything like that, but to me live, it looked like a penalty. And it reminded me a bit, do you remember when Colaccini got sent off against Liverpool a few years back? It was not a million miles away from that. And I thought, well, if it had been the other way around, would Lewis Hall have actually stayed on the pitch? I'm not quite convinced he would have done. So, but that said, I thought the referee had a really, really good game. I think he got the penalty wrong. I'm be open about that. I thought it was a penalty. But I think he got everything else right. I thought he allowed them to sort of kick each other a little bit, but it was balanced, if that makes sense. I thought both sides got the same treatment of the referee. So I thought he was actually very, very fair. So I'd like to see a little bit more of that, where there's a little bit more of tackling allowed in the game. I thought it was sort of nice to see. I thought he let the game flow. People forget as well, remember, the Barnes goal, that could have easily been called back for a foul, when the foul on Bruno as he was pushing the ball forward, and the ref just let it flow on. I thought that was really good refereeing. But I thought the team were terrific. The fullbacks were magic. I thought all three in the middle were brilliant. I want to do a shout out for Big Joe with regards to the last minute of the game, when he basically just brought the player down in the middle of the park when they were coming through. I want to see more of that, because we've been too soft in the past and letting teams getting up the other end of the pitch and having a chance. And I just thought, great. Yeah, he got a yellow card. So what? He stopped play and he allowed the team to get back into position again, and therefore prevent any possibility of a goal. So I thought that was great. Like a certain housery. I thought I was quite impressed with that. I thought the midfield were brilliant, though. I thought Bruno was fantastic. He really, really was. And Tonali and him had switched positions, which I was really quite taken aback by, because I didn't expect to see Tonali further forward. That was a real surprise. I thought Big Nick was tremendous. He was further up this time. He was further up the pitch. I thought the save off the header was unbelievable. I thought it was unreal. Everything was perfect about it. It was a brilliant cross by Murphy, who had a fantastic game. I thought the header was fantastic. The save was exceptional. I thought it was just an all-round brilliant bit of football. So yes, hello, Robert. It was nice to meet yourself as well. I just thought it was. I thought it was amazing. I thought all-round brilliant bit of football. Murphy's crossing at times was exceptional. I thought he had a very, very good game. And then put it in the left back, which is not his natural position. I thought he did quite well. So the midfield was brilliant. Tonali was just everywhere. And then up front along Murphy, tremendous. And I thought Barnes was obviously exceptional. 2 great goals. I love the fact that he missed and still wasn't scared to go up and have another go. Didn't go hiding. 2 tremendous goals. Absolutely tremendous. In fact, they were harder than the 2 that he missed. The one in the first 20 seconds where he should have went the other side of the keeper, I thought was it's easy to do. It's early in the game. And then the second one he should have scored, let's be perfectly honest. But he didn't go hiding. I thought he had a terrific game, some nice crossing, nice passing. He's got a little bit of pace on him. He's not lightning, but he's got a little bit of turn of pace on him. And I just thought that position's his. And Anthony Gordon, under no circumstances, should come in ahead of him unless it's a tactical change. Because at the minute, you're going to get 15 goals this season out of him. And he's not even been the first choice starter on a number of games. So he has to be the main man now on the left-hand side. And Gordon's just going to have to lump it, I'm afraid, because his form's been atrocious apart from in the Champions League. So it's up to him to prove otherwise. Personally, as well, Barnes' first touch is miles better than Anthony Gordon's. It's miles better. He's got a good first touch. Sometimes the way he just traps the ball in mid-air is really, really impressive. He's got a really good touch, but he's the best finisher at the club. The first goal was absolutely superb. He just placed it brilliantly. Donnarumma's a world-class keeper, probably the best shot stopper in the world, and certainly in the top 3 keepers in the world. And it was a fantastic finish. I thought the second one was even better. That is such a striker's finish. That's the sort of thing like a Robbie Fowler would have done.
Yeah,
like a natural goal scorer would have scored that, or a Jimmy Greaves or somebody along those lines. I thought it was a very, very clever and not a natural goal scorer's finish. A number of our players wouldn't have even thought of that. I thought that was superb. Barnes probably edged man of the match with his 2 goals, but I thought Hall was just amazing, and I thought Tinali as ever and Bruno were just brilliant. They all played brilliantly. The keeper pulled off a terrific save as well. And I love the fact that he came out so close to Haaland, that Haaland tried to have a shot and he fluffed it. And that was because of the pressure off the goalkeeper as well. I still wouldn't have him as my first choice starter. I have to say, I'm going to be open about it, because I thought a number of crosses he didn't come for, which was a little bit surprising. But well done to him. Brilliant save. So what a performance. Now, the difficult task is to do it at Everton. For me, tonight's game is less important in my eyes than the Everton game, because that's at the minute it's the league that I'm more concerned about. That has to be your sort of priority. The Champions League, what will happen, but the league is the sort of priority. We've just got to make sure we get up the table, and Everton will be buzzing after their win yesterday. That scenario of the Senate. Did you watch it?
Yeah, I did. I mean, I genuinely got to give praise to Everton in the way that they went about their task once it had been reduced to 10 men. Having been at the game that Boya kicked off with Kieran Dyer, I genuinely think that was a bit harsh. I
didn't think it was a red card.
It's the rules of the game, though. If you read the rules, it was the right decision, but it can be interpreted. You would have thought they would have showed a little bit more common sense.
So what happens if a player scores a goal and somebody just does that and slaps them on the cheek? Well done, mate. Is that a red card?
I guess it's the interpretation, mate. But he's raised his hands, and it's the manner. It's an aggressive. I can't remember the exact specification that was given.
In an aggressive manner. Yeah.
It's an aggressive manner, yeah. But I mean, look, I was delighted Everton won, really, because that gives them 3 points, and to be honest, the way that it works out, if we can go to Everton, as you say, and we'll look ahead to that in the second half of the show, but if we can go ahead to Everton and win at Everton, which is what we need to do, we need to get a result tonight against Marseille. We need to beat Everton. A draw tonight would be great, a win would be superb, but we need to go to Everton and win to build on that Man City win. That's what we've got to do. We'll look at that in the second half. Just want to focus still on the Man City game, because there's a lot of positives really to come from that. You touched on the fullbacks. Of course, Dan Burn was suspended, and you would imagine that because it's the Champions League and because of squad rotation's the key, Sid. You would imagine that Dan Burn and Anthony Gordon will probably get a chance to play tonight against Marseille. But I gather from what you're saying, that it really, you're the same as me. You've got the same opinion as me. When it gets back to Premier League business at the weekend, there's only one way to go, and that is Hall and Livramento at left and right back, respectively.
Absolutely. I mean, I'm expecting massive changes tonight, Steve.
Yeah, me too.
I know people might not want that, and that's absolutely understandable. I just don't think. I think we have to change the squad. We've got loads of games this next month.
Is there a mentality, do you think, though, from Eddie Howe's position? I mean, look, he'll have watched Marseille. You know, Mason Greenwood seems to be the man who's making all the headlines at the minute. But let's face it, I think Gibbo nailed it for me in our pre-record for Thursday. So I'm giving the viewers a little bit of a spoiler. But he was talking about Mason Greenwood scoring goals in like a league where there's not many great teams. You know what I mean? There's the top 5 or 6 are great. The rest of them are all naff, and ultimately there's a big gulf in class. So Marseille will not be an easy game. I'm not saying they're going to be an easy game tonight, but what I am saying is that Newcastle can go there with a bit of hope that if they can play and reach the same levels as they did on at the weekend, that they've got a chance of winning this. So, is there a temptation to play the same team? Is there a temptation to go with the same team again? Because if you get 3 points tonight, you're more or less into the next round.
Yeah, there's always a temptation, isn't there? But I mean, it depends on what people class as the next round as well, isn't it? Because is it the last 8? Or is it the sort of knockout round? So I want us to get in the last 8. I think we're in such a strong position points-wise that we should be aiming to get in the last 8. However, Premier League is the most important thing to me at the moment, because we're not going to win the Champions League. I'd love to see it, but so we've got to put the priority of being the Premier League, because that's the way we keep certain players as well. More importantly, and acquire players, and then push for Champions League in future years. So I would definitely change it. Because you've got 2 guys who've come back from long injuries. And I just think you'd be silly if you play them again after such a short period of time and push them all the way through it. And I was watching Craig Hope earlier on. He's saying that Kraft's available. So I'll be starting. I'll start him as right back. Otherwise, I'd probably have Jacob Murphy as right back. And then left back, I would have Dan Burn. And I know it's not popular. It's not popular with me. I'm putting that out there. First priority in the transfer window is to go and buy a fullback who covers both sides. I would have got the lad who was at Southampton anyway. Went to West Ham. He would have been my choice. But we need a left back desperately. But at the minute, I'll play Dan Burn there. I'll probably put Botman back in, although he's my 4th choice centre half. I'm openly admit that. And Chow has to start. He just has to start. Midfield, again, I'll look for big changes. I'll probably start Tonali, just because he's got the best engine out of all of the team. And I would probably put Ramsey in. And it depends on whether he does a formation shift, because I actually think Gordon will start up front. So I don't know. It's a real tough one. I think today's the hardest game to predict the starting 11 out of all of the games that we've played so far this season. I would probably put a different keeper in as well. I'd start Ramsdale. Miley would be a good shout there, Gary. So I'd probably Miley would be the other one. I think that's pretty fair. You maybe even go Miley. Yeah, Miley and Tonali's the holders, and put Ramsey further up. So yeah. Yeah, it's a real tough one.
Of course it is, and this is where rotation's important. This is where rotation is the key, and this is new. This is like pastures new, not just for Eddie Howe and his coaching staff, but it's a pasture new for us, because usually we've just been set with a set team and that's it. And squad depth hasn't been important, but because we're wanting to compete, season after season, then we've just got to get used to this and got to enjoy it. And that does tie in with what Mitch and Stu and Steve Hasty have been going on about for years on the professionals, the amigos, which is we have to get ready to sell big players. And we've sold the biggest name goal scorer we had in such a long time in the summer. But get used to it. We will sell big name players that people chant about now, but we will invest the money and bring in new players.
Well, Tonali is probably. I mean, there is big talk of him going to PSG, isn't there, in the summer? So we should see if that sort of actually occurs. And I wouldn't. I'd be devastated, obviously, but I wouldn't bemoan him to do so. I'll go Real Madrid. You'd have to hold your hands up and say fair dues. You know what I mean? The guy's been absolutely sensational, best midfield player I've seen at the club. So those things will happen. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised to see Joe Linton go at the end of the season. So yeah, I totally get exactly what you're saying. And then we've got young kids coming through, how they have to then be able to force the way in as well. So, and that will also mean other players move on. So yeah, it's just a conveyor belt where you maybe have 3 or 4 players who stay for a long, long time, and then others maybe do 3, maybe 4 years at a push. And that's the way it works in football these days. There's very rare you get a 10-year footballer now, isn't it? Very, very rare.
Yeah.
Murphy
Yeah.
maybe being the exception, or the cells, of course.
Yeah. Got to ask you your views and your opinions on Pep Guardiola coming onto the football pitch at the end of the game and having an argument with Bruno is one thing, but then putting his arm around Tino Livramento, and quickly being shepherded off by one of the coaching staff was interesting. But do you like seeing Pep Guardiola do these kind of things? Do you think it's professional?
No. But then, I suppose Notts Forest could say the same about Eddie Howe with Elliot Anderson after their previous game.
Good shout.
So there is that, it'd be double standards, really. Although, to be fair, Eddie Howe does have a relationship with Elliot Anderson, of course, whereas Pep Guardiola has no relationship. So there is that sort of difference. But I don't want to be sort of shouting out double standards here either. I just don't think it looks right. I don't think it's right. Well, we all know it's not tapping up, but you know what I mean. It's along those lines. It feels like it's along those lines. And the Bruno thing, I was just saying he was such a good footballer because apparently they went for Bruno in the summer, didn't they? So yeah. Bruno was it, but I can't confirm. Gibbo probably can, of course. But it's just weird. It's just weird. And he is an exceptional coach. He's probably the best coach of the last 30, 40 years. But it's just weird. I just don't quite understand it. But then you could argue we've seen other things in the past. Bobby Robson would do that to other players as well in the past. When he'd go, but it was normally players that he'd coached, of course. I remember seeing him doing it with R9. So there is that relationship there at some point down the line. But I think more importantly, it's whether you've got a relationship with a footballer. I just think it's very odd, and he's done this on a number of occasions, to go up to a player that you don't know and tell him how he can improve on the pitch. That is just weird. That is just strange. That's bizarre. Could you imagine Brian Clough doing that, or Bob Paisley? Because I can't. I just thought it was odd. At least he's apologised, and I think fair dues. He's been man enough to do so and big enough to do so. So fair dues. Let it go. He's a great manager, and he comes across as a really nice guy. And what I did like after the match, he praised Newcastle for doing really well and didn't have any gripes about the defeat. He didn't say, we didn't deserve this, that, or the other. He just went with it, Whereas, of course, if it had been Arsenal, he'd have moaned for about a year and a half and complained about the grass and all the rest of it, So, fair dues.
Yeah, fair do. Got to ask you about Nick Valdemada as well. I found it interesting at his press conference before the match. He was asked by Craig Hope whether he'd gathered anything new from watching Valdemada play against the opposition that for the German national team. He scored 3 goals in 2 games, of course, in those last games. And he said he said him and his coaching staff had been watching and looking and working on things and working on things without Valdemada, of course, because Valdemada wasn't there. Did you see a marked difference with the way that Newcastle played at the weekend in getting the ball forward to him? And did you feel that little switch in midfield, which I think most commentators have talked about now, where Bruno sat further back, Tonali pushed further forward. Do you think that helped push Valdemada further up the pitch?
Possibly, but it was all down to the fullbacks, man, isn't it? Because the fullbacks create so much space further ahead, and you've not got players having to come back and cover all the time, leave this massive gap, and then Valdemada fills that huge gap, having to track back because of everybody trying to cover the fullbacks. So I think the fullbacks allow the club to push on 10, 15, even 20 yards further forward of where we've been. So I think that's where the whole difference comes from. Valdemada was noticeably involved in the game far more and far further up the pitch because of them. I genuinely think it's because of them too. And it allows the whole team to go further forward. And obviously a tactical switch with Bruno and Tonali. That may have had something to do with it as well. But I think it's more to do with the fullbacks. I think it really does come down to the fullbacks. I think they changed the whole style and the whole way we play. So Yeah, but I thought it was excellent, Steve. Yes, he missed 3 chances. So what? That's what a striker does. Scores and misses, and you've got to be prepared to keep coming back and miss again, so I have no problems with that.
Yeah, somebody said to me at the weekend, the thing that really annoys me? It's when Craig Hope says, it's great to see Voldemort getting into those positions and missing. Well, it's not. You want him to bloody score. So you are right. Steve Hasty, good afternoon, mate. He says, consistency and rotation. That's what Eddie needs to drive into his squad. Those coming in must be ready and up to speed. That comes from Eddie's control over his squad. Those who don't rise will be out. And I think that's probably why Sven Botman was seeking reassurances during the international break, said, because, of course, he's not on international break. He's not getting selected for his international team. He has come back from injury, and maybe he's played one too many games due to the availability, of course, of Byrne and Shaw. But maybe is that time to rest Botman to get him back to his best?
Possibly, but I've explained my thoughts about Botman on here, which I know is not very popular, but there you have it. I just think...
I agree. I even went as far as saying I would probably, if a bid came in for Botman and we had another central defender lined up, I would let Botman go and bring someone new in. That's what I said, 100%. And I will stand by that. But it has to be somebody. It has to be somebody in the stamp of Mark Gahey who comes in.
Yeah, I absolutely 100% agree. I just personally think, and he's defensively, he reads the game generally. Let's forget the last couple of games, but generally reads the game really, really well. He's comfortable on the ball. He's a good passer, but he's slow. And I think you've got to have a bit of pace or something super special if you are slow. I don't think he has something super special. So I think he's a good player, but he ain't a Rolls Royce, as people have harped on about in the past. Chow, on the other hand, is comfortable on the ball, a decent passer. He's not sharp passing, of course, but he's decent, reads the game really well, really comfortable, but he's also very, very quick. And I personally would I think pace tops somebody being slow all day long who's reasonably comfortable on the ball. Pace, you can get away with more with pace, and I think pace is the key, especially against some super fast centre forwards. So I'll get somebody with a bit of pace. So definitely not. I think Burns is a better footballer, and there's a reason one plays for the international football and one doesn't. And I think one won't ever play international football.
I mean, the problem, and listen, I don't think for 1 minute we'll sell Botman Trulls at all, but I do feel that, I do think there will be changes. I mean, Fabian Shaw, bless him, if he could turn back time, I guess, would be the appropriate thing to say about Cher, as some people call him. But I wish he was 10 years younger. I said this at the match of the weekend. I wish he was the same age as Tino and Hall. And Dan Byrne, same applies. I wish he was the same age, because ultimately those two, literally can only sign maybe another contract for another year. 2 at a push, maybe for Fabian Shaw. He still looks as if he could do the business, but they're both quite slow.
Is it Shaw or Cher?
It's Fabian Cher, I've been told, but right. I don't feel comfortable calling him Cher. I know this is the music section coming up, but I do think it's Fabian Shaw. It's spelt Shaw. I was at a funeral yesterday, actually, an old guy who I knew who passed away, 91. He had a good innings, as they say, and he always used to call the Grand Prix the Grand Prix, and people used to go to it's the Grand Prix, man. He goes Prix, pricks. That's what it is. So, there we go. You're always going to have problems with that. I think somebody on the fans forum mentioned, it was Jeff last night, went, yes, I was watching a channel and they said Joe Ellington. Well, yeah, because that is the actual pronunciation of his name. Yeah, that is. He's not Joe Linton.
It's Joe Linton. It's a full word, isn't it?
Yeah. So these kind of things will always.
That's why Big Joe's much easier.
It is, yeah. Big Joe. Byrne is not better than Botman. Botman's been bad because Byrne was at left back covering him for all the time, says Trulls. We're getting told off now.
But they were all entitled to their opinion, man.
We're getting told off. Look, it's fascinating. It's great, though, isn't it, Trulls, to be discussing centre-halves and defenders who are good, are good enough. I'm not saying Botman. By the way, I'm not saying Botman is a poor player. Botman is a good player. I just don't. I think we've christened him Rolls Royce, and I just don't think he's living up to that. Maybe it's because of the 2 injuries he had. Yes, probably, but it's an opinion. I would like to think that.
To me, he looks a yard slower than he was before the injury, and I thought he was slow then. you know. So
Yeah.
that's just my opinion. Doesn't mean I'm right.
Yeah, me too. Yeah, and that's why we're going to always have a sensible debate on here. Okay, it is halfway through the show. It is time for the ad. But before we go into the pre-recorded, I just want to say thank you again, everybody, including Rob, who's coming on. Rob donated some wonderful Newcastle United shirts, and George actually won one in the raffle. He was wearing it last night on the show. But £500 raised in total. That's already been paid over to Age UK. Thanks to everybody who took part in that. A couple of dates for your diary as well. Don't forget, Super Matt and Gibbo is now on Voucher. Tickets are 19 quid. Voucher is also the place to get your Peter Beardsley do tickets. £29 for those on Voucher now. And the books are flying out at the minute. The Entertainers, we've got 10 of these left. Signed by Warren Barton on Friday night. So you can get them from nufcmatterspodcast.co.uk. And I'm going to do a little review of this on the Amigos. Somebody sent me an email, a really nice email. Somebody who's had the book and said, I'm underselling it for the price. So I will read their email out on the Amigos tomorrow. But it is a tenner. It's well worth a tenner of anybody's money. And it was a lot of fun to write. That, of course, all proceeds go to Age UK as well. You can buy that from nufcmatters.co.uk. And before we head into the proper ads, The Blade and Races, sang by the Felon Male Voice Choir. It's 79 pence. You can download that from all streaming services. And well worth 79 pence. Get yourself on there. And again, another little fundraiser for Age UK North Tyneside Dementia. Here's the ads. A big thanks to all our sponsors, Skips and Bins. You can find them at their website, skipsandbins.com. Contact them at www.skipsandbins.com/contact. Say hello to low-cost waste disposal with pay-as-you-go and contract waste management. A big thanks to Mr. Vicky's Sauces, handmade in Cumbria. You can find them at their website, mrvickys.co.uk. Email info@mrvickys.co.uk or telephone 01768 210 102. Thanks to our fanzine sponsor, United Group Travel. There are no strangers on our tours, just friends you haven't met yet. 2 crew driver and courier, local family company, 3-star plus quality hotels and no interchanges. Hot and cold snacks and drinks available on the coach, all excursions included. Their website, unitedgrouptravel.com. Email beverly.ugtl@gmail.com. Telephone 01670 632 460 or 0791 666 4174. Just £30 per person deposit. Thanks to Media Arts for all the help with the technical side of things. And if you like listening to us as a podcast, you can go to Sports Social Podcast Network or to iTunes, Spotify, or other podcast providers. If you want to support the show, then hit the subscribe button. It's free. We do 7 shows a week. Hit the little thumb up under the video, which is the like button, or click share to share to your social media. You can also join the channel on YouTube by hitting the join button for as little as $1.99 a month. If you want to become an NUFC Matters member, you can go to nufcmatters.co.uk. It's a £25 one-off fee. You get your pen, you get your badge, key ring, you get your beer mat and your fridge magnet and your membership card, nufcmatters.co.uk for that. And we have an event early next year, 13th of February 2026, an evening with Beardsley, Waddle and Gascoigne takes place at the Tyne Theatre and Opera House. To buy your tickets for that event, go to the box office 0191 243 1171 or Tyne Theatre and Opera House.uk. And it's a big welcome to Rob. Thank you very much, Rob, for your donation of shirts, mate. I hope you're pleased with the amount that was raised on the weekend.
Outstanding, and thank you for everybody who helped as well and supported Steve and all he does. It's fantastic.
Great stuff, mate. You were amiss. Sid played some good tunes. He didn't play this one, though, The Sex Symbol of the South by Elmer Fudd Packer Sr. Live in concert. Yeah, what a hairstyle that is. I remember having hair like that myself back in the day.
Brilliant. Excellent.
What are you bringing us today, Rob?
Today, we're going with an album. I like it, but it's controversial. A lot of Yes fans didn't like this album. It's 90125. It's a Japanese version of it on vinyl, and also came with the VHS. Yes, I still watch these things. It's an 11th studio album, which is unbelievable. So this was 1983. It was the album is named after the catalogue number. Simple as that. I'm just sorting my notes here. So 1983. Trevor Rabin on guitar. John Anderson. I mean, on Sunday I was listening to John Evangelis. The State of Independence. I'll Find My Way Home. And Sid, can you review a film next week? Because I think John Anderson there looks like Michael Douglas. If you can see that. Yeah. Michael Douglas stroke Robin Williams.
Yeah.
If you could do the film Falling Down.
Oh, that's a great film,
yeah. If you could review it. So John Anderson, you had the late Chris Squire on bass, the late Alan White on drums. What a powerhouse. Tony Kaye keyboard.
Alan White from Chesley Street as well.
Yeah, I never knew that. Produced by Trevor Horn from the Buggles. Obviously, Video Killed the Radio Star, which I think was the first song on MTV. I'm not sure. I think it was. So, song opens with Owner of a Lonely Heart. You'll all know this one. It's in your face. It's Trevor Rabin or Rabin, the power chords at the intro. I think it's the most popular Yes song to date. Very hard rock feel. Chris Squire and Trevor Rabin, they play the guitar and bass exact same time. It's a very repetitive song. There's not a lot to it. I love the end of the big chorus. It just changes, drops dynamic, which is refreshing for this album, which is very strange because it's for the Yes album, and I really like Yes. I think Fragile was the second album I ever bought. But it's very, very big, clear, crystal 80s sound, not very dark, proggy, as a lot of Yes fans have said the other Yes, because there was two Yeses. The Rick Wakeman and Steve Howe versions. But it was a big, big song, very catchy though. It was massive on the radio at the time. Then you got Hold On, nice minor parts on this one that I really like that shift into the main chorus is really good. Very dynamic, very, very good harmonies as you would expect with Yes. It's just the vocals are unbelievable. I mean, what a voice, nearly as good as Glenn Tilbrook. It's very repetitive. And all I can say is I wish I had more direction, but I love the song. So far, I love the song. I love the album. It Can Happen. Nice sitar at the beginning of this one, to me, makes the song. It's just unusual. And then you've got these bass runs that like mini bass guitar solos in a way. It can happen, but it's a lyrics. It can happen. What can happen? There's not much in the lyrics. There's not much direction, but I think like anything, like with any band, it's what you want it to be, what your imagination, where that takes you, is the lyrics. But it's quite weak lyrics, a bit bland, but I still like it again. Again, like I say, it's up to your imagination. It can happen. No. Changes, really good song. Again, Trevor Rabin takes lead vocals on this one. Obviously, good power and guitaring on this one. Really, really good keyboards and guitar part to this one. To me, bass and the drums take the full lead on this one. It's, again, brilliant song, but again, not much direction, not a lot to it. But I love it. It's a strange one. Then you turn it over, you've got side B, Cinema. What a song. Outstanding. It reminded me of like the bit of the old Yes from the album Drama, that feel about it. To me, there's no isolation in this one. It's all inclusive. I find this album, now that I'm listening to it now, it was very, very, isolated. It was like his part, listen to the drums. It didn't seem much as a band performance or band recording. But to me, Cinema, it nails it. Brilliant song, and just a pity. I think it's about 2.5 minutes long. Brilliant song. We're going to listen to it. Cinema by Yes, 90125 album. YouTube it, please. Then you've got track 2 on side 2. Quite an oriental theme tune on this one. It's a bit a cappella, very quite new to Yes's sound, very, very sort of fun, some more groovy vocals, spot on again. Again, the harmonies, the lyrics are very, very shallow. Leave it, it's like leave what? A lot of these songs, it's like the next song called Our Song what? Very emotional though. I was doing my notes on this, and I felt a bit, you know, that you get that ache in your heart, your jaw starts to go, and you're frightened to blink because you know a tear's going to drop down. And it wasn't the Ken Dodd song. But it was that place where it's that place in time. I knew what I was doing. I knew where my mind was at the time. It just sort of hit me again, a reality check. It's sort of like high tempo synth on this one. I like it, but I get confused with John Anderson's lyrics in this one. Is it a love song, or is it a song of love through the music, or vice versa? Again, what you want it to be. City of Love, second last song, unfortunately. Very, very solid heavy metal on this one. Power chords, solid drumming. I mean, the drumming, Alan White's drumming, it's absolutely phenomenal. Powerhouse, absolute powerhouse. This one, I think the lyrics are spot on with this one. Really dirty, sort of gritty sort of bass lines on this one. And again, a good change in direction goes straight in the chorus. Good song. Again, bright, the clarity on the recording, the final mixes. It seems to be all the same all the way through. It's like they've got levels all the same. Not that I'm complaining. The last song's called Hearts. Brilliant song. Another tearjerker for me. Again, going back to Our Song, I knew what I was doing. I knew when I was listening to this song for the first time and what it meant to me personally. Two hearts are better than one. Lyric in it. Stunning vocals. I mean, Trevor Rabin's backing vocals again, outstanding. To me, it's like back to style of lyrics that John Anderson wrote during the drama album. It's a strange one because it's brilliant, but it's not Yes, but it is Yes. But it's clear. The mix isn't great, but I love the album. To me, it's getting a 9.5 out of 10.
Ooh,
which
wow.
I know. I'm probably the only one. I mean, it was a downfall album, but there's just some songs that Our Song, Heart, City of Love, Changes, Cinema, Leave It. It's just things you pick up though. Like listen to bass run and that. And I think if you could put certain parts of every song on the album to make probably a prog concept album of it, it absolutely be genius, be unbelievable. So yeah, and then obviously, sung the song Roundabout, which was simply when they toured from the Apollo in Glasgow up to the Capitol in Aberdeen. That's all it's about. And there's a lot of mystery about it, but it's as simple as that. It's about hills and valleys, ornamental roundabouts. So went from Glasgow Apollo to the Capitol in Aberdeen up in Union Street. And if anybody can leave comments for me, because I got none last week, I was on George's show. So first one in, I will review it. I need some refreshment and some inspiration. So that's me at 9.5 out of 10. Loved listening to the album again. There's some really, really good parts in it, but yeah.
I have to go and listen to that. I haven't listened to that in years.
That was one of my albums a couple of weeks ago.
Mm.
Yeah, great stuff. Okay, what you got for us, Sid?
Well, in 2000, I thought I'd make it appropriate. My wife and I went to Marseille, and I remember being in a pub, and they played this album, and then I went the following day, and they played the album again. And I can't not hear the album now, not think of being in Marseille. And that's Desire by Bob Dylan. Which is a really, really good album. I think it came out in 76 after the Blood on the Tracks album. It's a very different album. It's got violin all over it. It's quite a different and odd sounding album, but really cool, really, really sort of laid back to a certain point. He co-wrote a number of the songs with a guy called Jacques Levy, which was again a little bit unusual for Dylan. It starts off with one of his greatest tracks, in my opinion, which is Hurricane, which is about the boxer Reuben Hurricane Carter, who was wrongly imprisoned for being part of a triple murder, like you do, which he didn't, and he was in jail for 18 years for something that he didn't do. But at the time when Dylan wrote this, he was still incarcerated. And Dylan was basically pleading his innocence within the song. It's a really, really catchy song, even though it's 8 minutes plus, but it's brilliant. It's an absolutely fantastic album starter. I absolutely love it. We then move on to Isis, which is a ballad. With regards to it, it's obviously got links to ancient Egypt, but it's about his marriage. It's again a really nice, just a lovely song, really, really good song. Mozambique came out. It was the next track. And it came out literally just after the independence of Mozambique from Portugal. So people thought there'd be some sort of link to it, but it's not really. It's more of a sort of light, romantic tune. But it's, again, a really nice song, really lovely song. Next is my favorite track on the album, which is One More Cup of Coffee. It's just lovely. It's a fantastic tune, brilliant backing vocals with, I think it's Emmylou Harris is singing on it. It says here, Dylan said the song was influenced by his visits to Romani, a celebration of Sainte Marie de la Mer in France on his 34th birthday. I think it's a brilliant tune, really catchy, just a lovely groove, lovely sort of harmonies. Oh, it's a fantastic song. Next is the weakest song on the album, which is Oh Sister, which to me sounds very similar to The Girl from the North Country. It's basically just the same chords. So it's all right. Joey is the longest song on the album. It's 12 stanzas, really quite long. Describes the life of the deceased gangster Joey Gallo. And people thought that Dylan was sort of romanticizing this guy who was sort of, you know, basically a full-on mafioso thug type of character, apparently. But Dylan later claimed he didn't write the lyrics for it. He just sort of wrote the music. But it's a good tune. Romance in Durango is an odd sounding song. It's almost got like a Mexican little feel to it as well. It features Eric Clapton somewhere in the background. I'm not sure you can hear him properly on it. Concerns an outlaw and his lover, but it's a really lovely song. I really do like it. It's a terrific song. Scarlett Rivera. Thank you very much for that, Steve. Yeah, the violin's brilliant on it. Next, we've got Black Diamond Bay. It describes the destruction of a tiny island through the idea of an eruption of a volcano going off, and there's this couple just watching what's going on. It's a fantastic song, really, really good song. I really like it. And then the other big favorite on the album is Sarah, which is Dylan wrote for his wife. It's sort of love song. They had a tumultuous relationship, certainly towards this point, which eventually would lead to a divorce. But she was apparently in the studio when he wrote this, when he played this for her as well. So it finishes off with a really nice track. But I just can't not hear this album and not think of Marseille. It's just I remember him being on the port in this lovely pub with Karen, drinking beer. And they played the album, and I see the next time I went in the following day, they played the same album again. I thought that was so strange. But yeah, it's a really good album. I'd give it 4 stars out of 5. So it's an excellent album. It really is. It's certainly worth a listen if you've not heard it. Terrific album. It's a real grower as well, actually, as an album. So that's my book. And instead of a film, instead of an album, I've gone with a book because I'm listening to it at the moment. And that is the Paul Weller one, Steve. And Dancing Through the Fire. So I'm listening to the podcast. And interestingly, the guy who does it is a fellow called Dan Jennings, and he had a series called the Paul Weller Podcast. And what he's done is basically just collated all of the podcasts together, put them in chronological order, and basically just reads out the podcasts. But it gives a whole narrative of Weller's story. And at the minute, I've just got up to the middle of the Style Council at the moment is where I'm up to. And it's fantastic. Weller's also on it as well at various points as well, which must be a bit strange for him. But it's absolutely superb. There's some crazy stories. I mean, the maddest story that I've heard so far is that the Jam hired a van in the early days of gigging, and they had this some sort of almost like a Luton van or something, some big van. But in the back of it was a lioness. So they'd be doing gigs, getting the gear out, and there'd be a lioness in the back of a van. And then we get the drums out, and there'd be a lion there. I mean, it's just mental. Poor Wesley, and people don't believe when we told them that we did a gig with a lion in the back of a van, but they did it on a number of occasions. It's a crazy story. Weller is such a brave musician in terms of breaking up, for me, one of the greatest bands of all time. at their peak, arguably, and then going off and doing something totally different with the Style Council and really split the fan base, because a lot of people hated the Style Council at some point. I don't mind them at all, but I just thought it was a huge, really, really brave move to do. And yeah, he's clearly very, very driven when you're listening to the book as well. He has some regrets as well. He says that the Jam probably had 2 more albums in them as well when he thinks about it now. And there's almost a sense of regret there that maybe certainly I think that he thinks that maybe he's broke up an album too early. But, you know, that was the time and that's the way it is. And you kind of go back and change it. But the other big thing is his parents sound lovely. Everybody just says how lovely his mum and dad were, you know, and that they would just invite fans in off the streets, come in, have a sandwich, have a cup of tea, and all the rest of it. So really, really, you know, really, really good. Really, really, really impressive. Just a terrific book. And the Jam are just great. Just brilliant.
Yeah, superb. Great stuff. I'll have to give that a listen. That's not one that I've come across.
Steve, it's brilliant. It's about 27 hours long.
Yeah.
But it's brilliant. The audio format is the way to do it. It's really, really impressive.
Trying to find 27 hours though. Yeah,
when you go for a walk, I do when I go for a walk or with the dog or whatever. I always have my podcasts on or drive the car.
So
great
see
stuff.
The back of the van with the lioness, is that obviously where he got his idea for his hairstyles?
Possibly, yeah. I've never heard that story. In all the books I've read, and all the fanzines I've read, and in all the documentaries I've seen, I'll tell you who I'm going to ask about that. Bob Smeaton. Bob knows everything about the Jam, as well as the Stones and the Beatles. Of course, the Beatles anthology is out on Disney, I think, tomorrow, and Bob Smeaton produced it with Jeff Wanfor. So I'm going to ask Bob about that, about the Lion, and see whether he knows anything about it. But great stuff. Great to have that musical interlude. Rob, thank you very much, as always, and thanks again for your help and support with AG
You're
UK.
welcome.
Look forward to seeing what you've got for us next week, mate. Take care.
Thank you.
Take care, Rob. Look after yourself.
Cheers, guys. Bye-bye.
Great stuff. Great to have Rob on, as always. Okay, just got time before we finish to look ahead quickly to tonight's game and, of course, the weekend's game. 2 games to go before we see Sid again. So, yeah, Sid, Marseille tonight. You know, after that game of the weekend, I guess your mindset changes a little, doesn't it? You feel that maybe Newcastle can get something. I've got to be honest, I predicted Newcastle to get beat against Man City 2-1, but I did feel would get something in Marseille. I've got a feeling we'll win tonight. I've said a narrow 2-1 win, and that would take us through, you would imagine, to the next stage, and then builds us up nicely for the trip to Goodison. So tonight, first and foremost, I think we both said we expect changes. What's your feelings tonight? Can we win in France?
Yeah. I mean, again, they have to go along with the mentality that it's the French league, and it's not, you know, they're not playing Real Madrid, they're not playing even PSG. Yes, they're doing very well in the French league, but it is the French league, and they've just got to go with the mentality that even some of our secondary players are better than their starting players. And that's the way to go ahead with it. I think they'll win. I'd probably go along with the same score, if I'm being honest, 2-1. I think there'll be a few goals in it. Yeah, I'm actually quite confident. I think there'll be like 7 changes. I think it'll be really quite dramatic. But yeah. I still think we'll win. I don't think it'll be a million miles away from the League Cup team.
Yeah, me too. I would imagine the same. I think Gordon will start. His form in the Champions League has been exceptional. And of course, should we win tonight, you know, Howe does have decisions to make every week, of course. But Anthony Gordon, going back to Everton, his time at Goodison Park obviously was overshadowed by the way that he left. And his subsequent visits to Goodison Park, he's always had it almost gives a feeling of nervousness. He almost doesn't see himself when he's there. Add to that his poor form in the league, in the Premier League this season. I think there might be a temptation to start Harvey Barnes next week and bring Gordon on as a sub because, yes, it's the Hill Dickinson Stadium. It's a new 50-odd thousand seater stadium, but it's that return to Goodison and maybe an impact substitution. And Gordon coming on could be a little bit more inclined in his thoughts, I think.
Steve, I think he's very much like Pickford used to be, and I'll emphasise the word used to be. When Pickford would come to St James's Park, he just collapsed. Mm-hmm. And I think I would not start Gordon against Liverpool or Everton because I don't think he can mentally cope with it. Mm-hmm. He's not proven to me on any of those occasions he's able to do so. He's just performed really, really poor. I mean, was he sent off on one of them? But he's played really, really poorly against them. He's never sort of done it. Missed penalties and so on and so forth. And I just think he's never looked the player that we know he's capable of being. And let's be perfectly honest, he has no right to start ahead of Harvey Barnes at the moment. Harvey Barnes was exceptional at the weekend. What's he got to do? Score 2 goals and then get dropped? Could you imagine that? How gutted would you be? You've got a 10 out of 10 performance and you got dropped for a guy who's contributed nothing since January in the league. So at the minute, he's definitely he's second choice on the left wing. He's probably second choice on the right wing. Elanga is 4th choice anywhere at the moment because he came on and looked rubbish again the other day, by the way.
I agree.
I think we've just bought a real dud there at the moment, but I'm hoping I'm wrong. I've given him at the end of January, so he's going
through issues behind the scenes. There's no doubt about it. I think that's what it is, and I think Howe's got to manage that, and I think we'll still see the best coming from Elanga. But I know where you're coming from. At the moment, mate, you're right. Even just the basics, his first touches off, the tracking was awful. In a game where Newcastle were pressing and holding on at that last 15, 20 minutes, you needed somebody harrying, chasing, closing down. And once he'd done it the first time, he was missing the second. He wasn't doing the second man.
There's a guy who's Malcolm McDonald quick, and he doesn't bother chasing back his player. I think that's unacceptable. Unacceptable.
You're not going to get any arguments off me on that, mate. Sure. Okay, let's get a prediction for the Everton game. It's always difficult because obviously we've got a game before that, but can we finally put the away day jinx to bed in the Premier League and get 3 points at the Hill Dickinson?
Yes. I'm going 2-1. I'm going to
2-1.
go with 2-2-1s.
I'm going to go for 2-1 as well. I think Newcastle will win that game as well, mate. I just want to squeeze in this happy birthday to David Kelly, the man on the telly. A man who helped us massively in his time at the club and such a lovely guy and does a hell of a lot with show racism, the red card as well. I've seen him up here a couple of times when he's done those kind of events in the Northeast. But lovely guy. I hope he has a great birthday wherever he is and what he's doing. And thank you to you, Sid. Anything coming up on Songs from the Attic that we should be looking forward to?
Yeah, I've done a show on King Crimson. I just cannot be bothered to mix it because it's going to be a nightmare. It's dotted all over and I'm going to edit them and put them all together. Jonesy the lad on it was just lovely, but an absolute nightmare when I'm trying to edit them. So
good stuff, mate. Well, listen, you have a good day, have a good week. Let's hope the next time I see you, we're through to the Champions League and we've got 3 points away from home. Look forward to seeing you next week, mate. Take care.
Take care, man. Look after yourself. Bye-bye.